Part 2 of our double feature day. Let's go back to the movies. If my movies weren't so far apart, or the movies weren't so short, I would have just stayed in the building. But I was hungry. The first movie, Love Lies Bleeding, was really good. Enjoyed it very much. Now on to the next. We're going to see the American Society of Magical Negroes. No, you heard me right. Let's go. Alright, let's talk about it. So that was the American Society of Magical Negroes, written and directed by first-time director Kobe Libby, stars Justice Smith, David Allen Greer, Ann Lee Bogan, and Drew Tarver. So this is supposed to be a satirical comedy about the magical Negro trope. The magical Negro trope, so yes, that's a thing. They didn't just pull that out of thin air. Is a trope in film and in literature, but mostly film. That's what this is supposed to be satirizing. The magical Negro is a supporting black character whose job is to aid and support and lift up the white protagonist. As the movie points out, think Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile, and then Will Smith in The Legend of Bagger Vance. Aaron, played by Justice Smith, is a struggling artist. He is, we'll get back to what he is in a second. But he runs into a dude named Roger. Roger notices that Aaron seems to be uncomfortable in rooms full of white people. He's always apologizing, and he's always a little hyper aware of the space he takes up, so to speak. So he's like, yep, this guy will be great for the, Magical Negro Society, where their job as magical Negroes is to make white people comfortable, because apparently the most dangerous animal on the planet is an uncomfortable white person. I ought to make a list of all the movies I've seen so far in 2024 where it's like, good idea, poor execution. A satirical comedy satirizing the magical Negro trope? Great idea. This was poorly executed. The biggest miss here in the story is the magical society. It's never properly fleshed out. There are so many questions and so many things left unanswered about the society, how big it is, the scope, how they got started. We really don't spend enough time with it. This is the name of the movie, and yet the biggest part of this story is, awkward Aaron at his job, and this girl he thinks is cute, but then his white client likes her too, so he has to put him first. Like, honestly, they could have just taken out the whole society thing and just made it about awkward Aaron, and I think he would have made his point, but it was kind of muddled. And the magical society muddling that point just left me questioning, what exactly is the joke here? What are we satirizing? Are we satirizing the magical Negro trope, or are we satirizing the black community as a whole? The magical society, to me, seemed like a caricature of the way a lot of people perceive the black community. The black community is a monolith, that we all have to be of a hive mind, doing the same thing, thinking the same way, and operating in the same way. And if anybody steps outside that box, there are consequences. But I don't think that was the point he was trying to make. I think he was trying to make fun at this cinematic trope that's, been around for as long as celluloid has been a thing on the big screen, and has changed a little bit over time. But that kind of got lost in the weeds. We started there, but we didn't quite end there. We ended there with a young man stepping outside of that box and realizing that, hey, things are going to be okay. I don't quite think that was the point. I don't know if the director/writer knew what the point was. This would have been a nice little comedy sketch. I don't think it makes a great movie. I really wanted this to be good. I wanted this to be, it had potential. Again, great idea. Poor execution. Where is Spike Lee? This is the kind of mess that Spike Lee can turn into a masterpiece. I mean, the idea, the concept, has Spike Lee joint written all over it. You should have just given it to him. this director slash writer, he's new and ambitious, but he wasn't quite ready for this task. It's tonally inconsistent. We're riding the wave of like 3 or 4 different genres, and they're not blending well. It's like someone trying to make a cake, but they don't mix the ingredients. Like, why do I still see egg? And we were supposed to believe that Aaron is the way he is because he, whether he realized it or not, was carrying the weight of, all these issues. And, he was subconsciously hyper aware of white people being uncomfortable and him having to make do with that or make white people comfortable. No, like, we meet Aaron and he's in an art gallery where everyone is dressed up in blazers and he looks like some college student that just rolled out of bed. Like, no, homie, you're not hyper aware of white people's discomfort. You're just incredibly insecure. You lack confidence and you don't believe in yourself. But it kind of makes sense a little bit, with the Magical Society being an accidental caricature of the black community, unless that's intentional, I don't know. But I don't think he meant, the Magical Society to be an accidental caricature of the black community. That's what I got out of it. But it kind of made sense because you have awkward Aaron over here who's just uncomfortable in his own skin, period. And then old head Roger, seeing racism where it doesn't exist, and then planting that in weak-minded, awkward Aaron's little head. And now he's up in arms. But it's okay though, because in true We Have to Save This Film fashion, we get a impassioned speech by Aaron at the very end of the movie. But by the time we get there, it's a little too late. 26 movies I've seen this year, 24 in theaters, and I can count on one hand how many movies have actually been really good. This isn't one of them.